How's everybody doing today? Welcome to your Monday collective reading. This is going to be a collective reading for all signs and all people. Take it if it resonates, let that shit go if it don't. Alright, so I'm going to put in hi Ari non-binary. I love the way that rhymes. So tips welcome to Venmo. If you have it, send it. If you don't, stay for the message. I'm going to type that in and then we're going to get started with our weekly collective reading, okay? How's everybody doing today? Hi, Ray. Is that how you say your name, A-Ray? All right, let's see. Hi, Zavalo. Hello, hello, hello. There you go. Okay, so now we're on business. Okay, so how's everybody doing? I feel like this week has been... It was like a lot of ups and downs with the zodiac sign readings, right? So this is going to last exactly 15 to 20 minutes. It's going to be a collective reading. Take whatever you can and want out of it. That is how the collective works. Stay tuned for the full moon ceremonies here in San Diego, California. For those who are in the area or want to make plans to come, make sure you secure your spot as well. It's going to be a full moon in Libra. So let's start with a little prayer and tap into the collective and go from there, okay? All right. God, allow me to tap into the energy of the collective. Allow me to give a message that we can all use. So motivate. All right, so what's going on? Ooh, see, we got the star upside down. You know, the star upside down, honestly, like, it comes from a place of being in panic, right? Being in panic and not knowing that you don't have to look at things so negatively, right? A lot of the times, perhaps I can tell you from personal experience, right now this card comes up and I'm like, I'm not looking at anything negatively, I'm doing my best. But what if this point of view and perception that I have of life, I'm so used to it that I don't consider it negative. I might consider it realistic. I may consider it a lot of other things except that, right? So we see that things are crumbling. We have a lot of things going on that are finally hitting ground, and that's going to involve a lot of other things falling apart, right? So it's definitely an up and down. So we have the star, right? And the star is like, oh my God, I don't see this going anywhere. I don't know how this is gonna happen. And I'm starting to relate to it more and more, right? Like I'm disconnecting from my spirituality a little bit. I'm not trusting. And remember, the collective reading, the daily reading for the day today was, don't let your financial situation dictate your manifestation wishes, meaning manifest beyond your present situation, right? Like, allow yourself to pinpoint your desires and your fears that are in the way of all of that, right? So this comes down to this card right here. We're getting locked out of our spiritual connection. We're letting the disbalance in between us and that world happen, and we are becoming negative Nancy's basically, right? But at the same time, that's because we have so much going... Where is my fan? I can't do a reading without my fan. That's because we have so much going on. There's a lot of ideas that we've had for a while now that are finally taking place. And a lot of I gave myself a reading last week, and it talked a lot about letting things unfold. I was reading a book called what was it called? How Not to Be Yourself or something like that. And it talked about like quantum realities. So we create this quantum reality and we align our vibration to it. So now we jump realities and we're into this path in which we have all these ideas of things we want to make happen basically, right? Which is this 8 of Wands. And then it comes to a point where you kind of just sit there and watch it all happen. So this is where we're going to be this week. This week is where we sit there and we just watch the shit fall through. we watch all of our ideas or entry pieces, and this is going to happen fast during this week, where it's like everything becomes grounded. Our ideas become real and grounded and start hitting the ground, because these are actions in the air. But if you see, all the actions are going downhill, and the actions are going downhill, meaning they're going to take effect, and it's going to be quick this week. So expect a lot of change. Along with this change, there's this a tiny bit of a scary card, which is the Tower. And the Tower talks about, especially when it's upside down, is a spiritual demoralization, or a spiritual tear down of a certain belief system that we had. Also, something that we can see happening from a mile away if it's going to be physical, right? So we're seeing certain things just not working out, but these things are actually going to be, I'm not even getting the vibe that we're looking at as scary. Maybe we know that all of these things are changing, right? Like we have this ideas that we're coming into fruition with. Maybe we made an investment. Maybe we applied to a bunch of jobs and they're going to call us back. Maybe we talk to different people about creating different things together, and now it's actually coming together. It could be a lot of things, but it's definitely something it's something very aligned with ideas coming into reality, or having a solid foundation to grow from. From there, we see other things falling apart. But not only falling apart physically, and we see it coming ahead. Usually this is a scary card, but I'm not getting the vibration or the feeling, or my intuition is not telling me that it's going to be scary this time along. It's like we want this to happen. Like, right? Change is a little, like it throws us off a little bit, but we want it. We want this kind of change. And it's spiritual, and it's also physical. And from the physical aspect, we saw it coming a long time ago, so by now we're ready, right? So make sure that you work a lot through your sacral chakra. Yes, through your sacral chakra also, but make sure you work a lot through your root chakra, because the root chakra will allow you to feel safe all out through and through this change is coming, right? Because while your structure is rebuilding and reconstructing, you're going to need to feel that safety and sense of security right underneath you. And that's going to be affected directly through the root chakra. So what do we have after that? We have the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles, this is the reason why we're not so scared and we don't feel terrorized about this Tower card upside down. This is why we shouldn't, at least, because we know that all these ideas coming to fruition have to come along with some, with the reward, but also with the reconstruction of certain aspects of our lives, whether these aspects again are spiritual or physical. In this case, I'm looking at them being both, but take what resonates for you, right? This doesn't take away from the first card, where we're still being a little that shit ain't gonna happen. That's just not gonna happen to me. That's not gonna happen. Like, I've been dreaming about this, giving it my all, doing all the right things, but you sit there and watch what's not gonna happen. And like, honestly, the universe is like so ready to just give it to you, that if you think that you're self-sabotaging yourself by being scared of your own potential and your own success, and thinking that if you think negative about it subconsciously, you're gonna let this shit not happen, bitch, you're in for your run. They're gonna give you a run for your money, because let me tell you, you're so aligned with what the things that are going to develop this week, that nothing can take you away from it. Like, it's almost like self-sabotaging right now. Like, it's not gonna work out for you. It's like, okay, put it this way. The great metaphor for it will be that I've applied for the perfect job, and the universe knows that this job is meant for me. But yet I'm so scared of leaving the little job I have, or I'm so scared of, and this again is an example, a metaphor, an example of what, how to put this card together. I'm so like, no, they're not going to give me the job. I don't want it. I'm going to make it hard for them. I'm going to be picky about my hours. Because subconsciously we don't want it, right? Because it's too much for us. Like, how dare us be successful and good at everything that we do and be completely aligned? It's not something I'm used to. It low-key terrifies me, and I don't believe in it. So that's what this card talks about a little bit here, right? So even then, we're so aligned that we're only going to make it harder for ourselves, right? But it can have a positive impact in it, because now we get to demand what we want out of it. So while the reconstruction and the demolishing of the old stuff is happening, we get to build it the exact way that we want it. So it's almost like being so negative about it and being picky about it, even that is going to be a positive at the end. right? But it's still going to make it a little hard in your psyche because you're still like pushing it and resisting it a little bit, right? By thinking that, but it's almost like you've already aligned. And I've said this a lot to my collective, or a lot to the collective here, that the decisions that we made about a year ago today, or 2 years ago today, is what the fruition, the fruits that we're seeing right now. So not much can take us away from it. And this is why I told the collective frenetically about a year ago, make sure that what you're building right now is aligned for you. And if you're still sitting here watching this and resonating with this, that means that what you created, you created it in so much alignment with your true self that there's no shaking you out of it, sis. There's no shaking you out of it. Now, every time I pull this card out, I tell you, every time I pull this in the Ace of Wands, I quote Rihanna's song. None of this shit is promised, none of it is promised. So just none of this shit promised, okay? Like, it's not. This is opportunities coming your way. This is the opportunities that you open the door for, that you pray the awareness onto seeing, right? You better jump for them, sis. Like, you better jump for them. There's still the need to let go, to even talk more about emotions this week. This may or may not be connected to it. I feel like it sort of is, but you can lie to yourself and tell yourself that it's not. Let's play this game, right? Let's play the game where, all your emotional baggage, that, relationship with your ex-boyfriend that you haven't completely let it go of, those, the way your mother treats you, all these things that your childhood traumas, let's say that all of that has nothing to do, right? Let's play the game in which it has nothing to do with how you feel about things going right in your life. Let's pretend and just say that it doesn't. Okay? Even then, this week is still going to be good to let a lot of this stuff out, right? Whether you want to accept or not that these things have been holding you back for a long time, and I don't know why or who the fuck I am calling out like that, you know what I mean? Because that's just what spirits are telling you right now. It's like, really just tell the collective that it doesn't matter how they look at it, to just still let it out. Because this is the pouring out emotions. If you feel any blocks of emotions, I haven't pulled out my book in a long time. I don't know where the fuck it is, but because let me see if the Ace of Cups is, I forget if it's locked or if it's the opportunity to say so. Because either or, honestly, just take it. You know what I mean? Like, either or, you should take it. It's a block of emotions. It's a block of emotions. Is not being able to talk about how we feel, right? Why do we feel so negative about these things? Why do we feel so negative about such positive things coming on in our lives? What emotions are coming up for you? How is this making you feel? Okay? How is this making you feel? Whew, that was quite the fucking reading. Again, if anybody wants to send a bitch a tip, they are welcome. My Venmo is tipped at the bottom. I'm not going to answer any questions right now because I don't have the time. I do notice that I've engaged with those 4 people that came in, have not left, so that's good. I mean, check out y'all bitches like this, so that's good. So let's pull out one more card on some advice. Okay, all right. Okay, and then let's pull out this from a message from the spirits. So the first thing that we have, the advice for this week from the cards is stay on your King of Wands Knight of Wands kind of shit. The Knight of Wands, it's just recently graduated, barely got his horse, is ready to defend and to go and get what they want to get. This is an action-driven motherfucker, right? This is the investor. This is the young entrepreneur who has nothing yet, right? Be ready to go get what you want in this world. Because let me tell you something, honey. Not a lot of people get to realize they can get to go what the fuck they want. And if you're here sitting watching this, that means that you've realized that you can get to yourself a lot more than what you're doing right now. And remember, if life hands you $25, that bitch had $45 ready to give you, but you only asked for $25. Think about that for a second. The other one is allow your emotions to be stable and rule and guide yourself from a place of stable emotions, because also because this comes out as advice. Actually, let me take that back, because this comes as advice for this week. It's not telling us how we're going to be. It's letting us know that this week it's going to be okay to allow ourselves to be a fucking emotional mess. You want to be in a fucking emotional mess this week, sis? Go for it. Because there's more of a chance that you get to express yourself if you allow those emotions to come out. If you're trying to sit in your Queen of Swords shit, if you're trying to sit in your Queen of Swords shit throne, detaching yourself from these emotions, if you're trying to sit in your King of Cups, I got it together emotionally kind of deal, then you're going to be lying to yourself, because there's a lot of emotions that you don't know how to handle yet, and you don't know how to go about them. And that's okay, because until you accept that you have them and face them and talk about them and release this emotional block, you're not going to be able to tell the world, I need help with this. Capiche? Look at that right there underneath. Track down your fears and desires. This is basically this 2 cards, right? Like, if we let ourselves be emotionally unstable for a little bit, we're able to bring it out, even if it's just in kind of like diarrhea vomit, right? Like emotional diarrhea, which is okay to an extent. Make sure you're around the right kind of people. Make sure you ask people to hold space for you. Like, it's okay to be a fucking emotional mess. Because if we don't know how to deal with emotions, and which has been keeping them and suppressing them for so long, when they come out, they're just gonna come out. They're just gonna come out. Let them flow. Allow yourself to be an emotional wreck. We're not perfect. And being perfect doesn't involve pretending that nothing is wrong with us. That's not being perfect, sweetheart. That's not. So face yourself, hunt your dreams, get your desires, and get your life, bitch. All right, that was all for today. I love you all. The universe is always on your side. Don't ever forget that. You know what Pink said in one of her songs? All the voices in my head, make them like me instead. Okay, girl? I love you all so much. I love you. And it's okay if you have a lot of shit that you don't know how to deal with. And it's okay if you can express yourself correctly and coherently sometimes, because you were never taught that before. It's okay if sometimes you're a lot of it and too much, because you got to find the people that are a lot and too much like you, because you don't need to belittle yourself to fit into other people's frames. And it's okay to teach yourself things that you didn't know before, such as emotional balancing and emotional communication and emotional intelligence. You got to fuck it up in order to accept the shadow of it and then go from there. But while you keep repressing these emotions, you're not going to know why you're so afraid of being successful. Ooh, honey, that one hit me at home. Okay, let me go, because I got a meeting to go. I love y'all. Bye. Remember, send a bitch a tip. Mwah.